What's up, Crispiteers, and all my people out there in the universe, as well as out in social media land. Hey, YouTube, what's happening? It's your guy, Mr. Crispy. We back again with another tutorial, getting ready to set out this burst type of fade. This young Thundercat's growing his top out, and we getting it fresh. So let's get right to it. Okay, let's jump right into it. As we begin to cut the client's hair, the first step is to comb the hair properly and thoroughly. You want to get all the kinks and the knots and tangles up out of the hair so that the clippers will glide clearly through the hair with no kind of friction or fight, because you can, cause a plug or somewhat or whatnot. And we know that ain't what we want, right? So moving forward. So now we get our liners, our babulous, and we begin to set in our primary lines. This is where we start the haircut out. First, it's the bald line of the burst taper. So we begin by cutting a straight line, getting ready to set in our other guidelines. But this is the first primary line. We come to the other side, we do the same thing, as well as move around to the back, doing the same thing. So the first thing that I do is I attack the back half of the hair. And this makes it easier on the client because comfortability is the most important thing. So we're going to grab the 2-guard attachment and we're going to begin to scooping out from that very first primary guideline. With his type of hair, being that it's pretty tight coiled and real thick, what you want to do is attack just the bulk areas first, and to make sure that you use the guard largest for the size and the texture of that hair possible. Because what can happen is if you start lower, once you take that hair away, you can't put it back. At this point, you're figuring out your point of attacking the hair instead of cutting too much out and have to improvise, feeling like as if that you done already messed up as you started. If you understand what I'm saying, stick with me. We gonna get you through this thing. This thing is the easiest thing in the book. When using the 2-guard attachment like this is usually what barbers who are trained and licensed will call tapering down. This is all because what this does is the guards are usually used for attacking areas that is awkward for the clipper blade, that if you attacked it with just out an attachment, it would take too much. An attachment allows you to make sure that you don't go in too far or too much. And this part of the head on people is like where you normally would have a hook or that little fat on the back of your neck where someone would have to hold it up with their other hand to just cut into that area because of the wrinkles. So what we're doing with this 2-guard before we go to this 1.5 is that we're making sure that we're tapering down so that it doesn't take too much. It makes the transition from lightest to darkest or darkest to lightest to be at its even and most properly smoothed out crispy blend. If you feel me! Yes, sir. That's where we at with it right now. Moving right along, back to the haircut. As we leave the 2-guard, we're moving to the 1.5. And what we're doing now is just strictly trying to make sure that the blend from the 2 to the 1 goes consistently and comes out smooth and stacks on top of each other. The next step from there, we're going to go to taking the attachments off altogether at hand, and we're going to open the blade all the way up, and we're going to initially create that secondary guideline that we would normally do on the regular steps of the cut, with the one open is which the blade all the way open is equivalent to. So when you do that, you're doing that with the steps of beginning your taper. Now we've got the top blended and it's stacked together. So when we come with that one blade open and we transition into the 1.5 open, from that point, you close the blade on the 1.5, then you switch into the 0.5 with the blade all the way closed. As you start seeing your fade come together and your blend meet each other where it's supposed to be met. You're recognizing because of the process of the steps that you take. The next step will be to take the blade attachment off and begin to just start detailing, switching and clicking the lever out as you scoop up and scoop out, different aspects of the hair, so that you'll start attacking and seeing that blend come together from lightest to darkest, darkest to lighter. And as a barber, you realize that you never skip steps, but you always be cautious so that you can see where your blend is going. And once you've done the, I guess to say, steps that a barber has been doing for years, then you begin to understand where you are with those clippers. And what I call cheating and skipping a step, you're able to do confidently because you know where the hair is going to meet you at. You guys, I know that's saying a whole lot. It gives you a whole lot of information at one time. But what I want to do was to kind of give you and capture the insight of how a barber's mind thinks. But with that being said, I'm going to allow you to see a little bit of the footage before I intervene again so that you can see what it takes to do what Mr. Crispy does. Okay, I'm back. At this point, what we're doing now is we're starting to do the sides. And everything else, you're going to see it come together in detail in the end. Really, when you're looking at a fade sometime with the texture of hair that you're doing or dealing with, you have to know that in the end, that it's all going to come together. Trust the process, because sometimes some people's hair is tightly curled and it doesn't really give you a good idea of where you're going with your haircut. But you just have to trust the process. This is a youngster that I know very well, and he cleans up real well. So just follow with me right now. But what I'm doing right now is the right side of his head, which is the taper fade. And the thing about that is, it's pretty much the same thing as before. Repeat, repeat, repeat of the same steps. But instead of going from the approach of knocking down the bulk in the back, we step out there on the first primary step as we always do, which you know already because I've explained it fully in detail. Just follow with me, Crispateers. We on to something. Let's do this. Here's an opportunity for me to give you a little something as well. Drop a jewel on you real quick. What I've recognized throughout the years of cutting hair, sometimes that, you get caught up with the fascination of liking one clipper, which is fine. Not trying to say anything against anyone or any particular, but just showing how every tool that you use, because clippers are tools for us, just like a mechanic, how they use the centimeter and the millimeter metric systems. See, what we do is every clipper has its own unique way of cutting. The blades are usually bigger or smaller, or the way that the company creates the lever on the side is either tighter or closer or opens wider or lesser. So what it does is it gives you an opportunity to use all type of tools, which I like to do, because what it does is it opens your mind and it allows you to give a more cleaner cut or crisper fade and things of that nature by the use of all types of tools. So Andis has its perks, Gamma has its perks, you have Oyster or Oster, however you choose to pronounce it, they all have their perks. But me, myself, I tend to lean toward Anders because it's what I started with. But back to the video. Just want to drop that jewel on you. At this point of the video, I really just like to thank you guys for tuning in, because it's important, you know, to be able to be a help in society today. And I just like what I do. And I really have a passion for helping those in the industry to just keep at it. But back to the video, we're on the left-hand side. We coming down to a touchdown almost, because we actually coming to an end. I mean, we halfway there. You know, we've done the back, the right side, now we're on the left. And at this point, it's pretty much, you know, the same. Repeat, and now we're gonna do a bunch of detail cleanup to get it where you want it, okay? He likes the enhancements, he likes the slits in his eyebrows, and we're gonna walk you through all these things. So just give me a second and ride with me. Come on, Crispy, we on this thing, we halfway there. Keep on moving with me. Crispy! And I can never say enough about always refer to your mirror. Always remember that your mirror will help you to see things that your eye can sometimes get a little blurred or disconfused, or because you're looking at the same thing over and over, and sometimes the lighting ain't right. There's always a reason for you to look off, to reset or readjust your eyes. If you notice at this point, I'm actually pulling the skin tight with the other hand as I use the clippers with the blade all the way closed to clean up and to detail at this point, to try to make sure that we're getting that line, that faint very last part of the line out of the blend at the bottom of the burst taper. And this is a part of the process that it's similar to what you do in the back of the neck when you spread the skin close or tighter so that you can get to it. Whereas if it's hard to get into those areas, this is what I was speaking about earlier. This is something that's always something to remember, to add to your arsenal of attacking out the tapers and lines and things to make your blend look super crispy. This is part of the detail. The other part of detailing is when you take it, put your blade attachment back on, and you clean up little areas that's dark and looks like as if that they could be tapered out, and you go over things because you're cleaning up and you're coming to the end. So this is just all a part of the detailing. Okay, Crispy Tears, at this point, I'll take the clipper blade and put the 0.5 attachment on it and hit the very bottom part of the bulk of the taper, and I'll rake it out like as if that I was taking the comb teeth and going through the bottom part of your taper so that it will smooth it out at that point. Okay, now at this point of the haircut, we're getting ready to do the line. The lining part of the haircut, which always brings everything together. It gives you the detail of all the taper and the work that you've done. The line can make the haircut a lot of times. And what I like to do is I like to taper the front part of that down, because the hair likes to tend to have a tendency of curling up. So what I do is I'll taper it down. And then once I've already taken and tapered that down, I'll take the 1.5 guard, close it all the way up to make sure that it's evenly blended so that the bulk of the hair smooths out too, and I'll go against the grain of the line to make sure we leaving out no rough spots, they'll lay smooth. Drop another jewel for you. When you get ready to start the process of giving your line, starting from the center and working your way out, it's always good to use some type of product, like either a spritz or a holding spray. Me, I like spritz because what it does is even as you lining that person up, it gives you a guideline to follow. So you can work it from right to left and come out with a crisp, clean line. Jewel drop. Now, as I begin to line the hair up, starting from the center to the right, and I work myself over to the right, and then I start from the center again and work myself to the left. Make sure that the hair lines up and looks nice. Then I start attacking the corners. Also, in doing the line, it's your call and your judgment, because on certain people, you know their hairline, and you're usually doing a professional pushback to some degree. So what you're doing is what's comfortable to you. And when you know that person's head and your guidelines are set, It's all about you doing what's comfortable for you, because in this case, I worked from the center to the right and did my corner, and then went back to start again, to start from the center and work my way left and did my corner. So it's up to you. It's your judgment call, whatever's comfortable for you, but it's always best to work from the center. Another crispy jewel drop. Always remember that in touching over and over again, in trying to make the line real crisp and sharp, a lot of times you're breaking that skin because the metal from the clippers get hot and it burns the skin away. That's what they call clipper burn. So what you want to do is give yourself that little guideline, give yourself a little line that you can follow, and then when you follow back with the razor gets it and details it, whereas if the hair that you can't get with the clippers, the razor will get that real detailed. Crispy jewel drop. Continuing with the lining as we go around the ears, working from the corner of the ear, working around to the back of the ear. Some particular cases, some people's hair is thick and tightly coiled that it seems like it leaves spaces and gaps in that area. And all you can do is follow what is there for you, and then try to go behind it and detail it and make it look up. But always trust the process, because you're only doing what you can do. And them haircuts always come out to be the nicest ones. Okay, at this point, once you got your line all the way around the head, behind the ears, off the neck, and that particular thing, now we go back to doing some more detail. So you grab your clippers and you go and you look, you check the mirror, and you see things that you want to clean up or that needs to be fixed. This is the time to do it. All right, so you grab your clippers and T-outliners and go to cleaning up certain different things. This is the point where I start to put enhancements in, and me, myself, this is my take on enhancements. You do what the client and the people want. Me, I try to make sure at all times that I repeat, never do anything that will make it look obscure or different from what a natural haircut looks like. All I'm doing with the enhancement is filling in areas that may be lighter, and it gives a fuller line. But I'm not trying to hide any mistakes I've made or correct anything. So it looks natural and it looks good. And that's what brings them back, in my opinion. But this is a no judgment zone. Okay, at this point, it's time to lay the client back and start detailing the razor to give it a crisp line. And with the help of the spritz, it keeps your line intact and very crisp before you wipe off the excess of it, as well as to put the lines in the eyebrow, which I'm working my way to real soon. But right now, I'm still detailing out this hairline, giving it the crispiest possible line that it can be. And that gives it detail, especially after doing the enhancements. Depending on the texture of the eyebrows and the thickness, I usually like to take the clippers and open them up and knock the hair down. On certain clients, sometimes you have to use a guard. Keep that in mind. And then I come behind with the trimmers, but I lightly touch. And that's because when you touch hard, that's a sensitive area on the eyes and you can cut them. I come behind myself with the razor and detail it by pulling the skin tight of the eyebrow, and I'll clean out the line Not arch around the hair, but do the lines so that it will last longer. That's the only thing that I do with the razor on the eyebrows. This is the point, crispeteers, that we take and add a little product, and we take that sponge and we give it a little old twist and go to give them that crispy new look he's looking for. Get him moving in the right direction, because we rounding this thing up. Tell me what you think out there. If you're paying attention and seeing what I'm seeing right now, you see the little coils bringing out them curls in his hair naturally, and it's coming together. You can see this thing. It's really exciting when a good plan comes together. Follow with me. Check this out. I'm telling you, this is the passion that you will have for doing this whenever you get to the place where you know that what you're doing is going to make something happen. It's called reaping the harvest of the benefit. You see the process of what you sold into it by trusting the process. I'm telling you, it's a good feeling. Come on now. Come on now. So this is how the haircut turns out. I hope you liked it. This is the crispy part that I like. So check it out. I'm asking that you like, subscribe, and even leave a comment. Any of your choice, it doesn't matter. Thanks again for tuning in. And always remember, stay crispy.